Close your eyes for a moment and feel your body still lying down between sleep and waking up. There is a deep silence that precedes the first thought of the day, and it is in this exact space, subtle, almost imperceptible, that everything can be remade. Maybe you don't know it, but the way you wake up is the way your reality is shaped. What if, behind your tiredness as soon as you open your eyes, there is a hidden message, a silent request from your soul to start differently? There are days when not even the sun seems enough to dissolve the inner fog. You wake up, but you feel as if you're still stuck in a repeated yesterday. Beautiful intuitions, sincere intentions, but something inside still blocks the flow. A vibrational weight that arrives even before coffee, even before the first decision, as if life itself were paused, even while you are moving. Bruce Lipton reminds us that 95% of our daily behavior is driven by unconscious programs, and these programs start running as soon as we wake up. Before any conscious choice, the body already obeys the commands of the subconscious. If the first thought of the day is fear, haste, or doubt, the rest of the day will be shaped by that same frequency. Waking up without awareness is like handing over the helm of your life to old memories. It is allowing old patterns to decide how you will feel in the next few hours. And that is why so many days seem the same, even with different desires. But what if you could consciously choose the vibrational field you will inhabit throughout the day? Joe Dispenza reveals that, upon waking, our brain is in a highly moldable state between theta and alpha waves, a precious moment where everything is absorbed more deeply. In this state, your emotions, thoughts, and mental images are transformed into energetic codes that define the quality of your day. And what do most people do? Without realizing it, they repeat the same thoughts from yesterday: worries, to-do lists, memories that still hurt. Like a vibrational copy and paste. The body feels the same, the brain responds the same, and the day becomes an echo of the past. That's why this video isn't just an inspiration, it's a call to action, a gentle but profound invitation for you to awaken in another realm, a realm where intention meets body, where science meets soul, where the silence of the morning becomes a portal of reconnection. Today, you'll learn how to activate the frequency of the best day of your life. Not with magical promises, but with subtle practices rooted in biology and spirit. Let's walk together through the first minutes of your morning as if stepping on sacred ground. Because it's there, in the space between one thought and another, that your new destiny begins to vibrate. The invisible mistake that makes you repeat the same day with different clothes. There is a scene that repeats itself silently, day after day. The alarm clock rings, your eyes open, and before you even realize it, your mind has already traveled down old paths. Without warning, familiar thoughts arise like old acquaintances. What do I have to do today? Will I have time? Why do I still feel this emptiness? And so, without realizing it, you enter autopilot. The body moves, but it is the past that directs. The mind pretends to be in the present, but it is reenacting old versions of itself. Bruce Lipton explains that when most people wake up, they activate inherited emotional scripts, not from DNA, but from accumulated experiences. These are emotional memories that form a neural pathway and, like an ancient river, carve the same path every day. You may wish to take a new path, but if you keep walking where you've always walked, you'll find the same internal landscapes. It's like wearing different clothes, but living the same storyline. This repetition is subtle, almost imperceptible. That's why it's so powerful. You wake up and already feel the weight of the bill to pay, the longing that still hurts, the task that hasn't been finished. And that first feeling, that first tone, is like a note that tunes the rest of the day. It defines the rhythm, the melody, even the silence. The first 20 minutes of the day are sacred territory. In them, the soil of consciousness is fertile, ready to be seeded with new frequencies. But if you plant worry, you reap resistance. If you plant guilt, you reap scarcity. The body obeys. It doesn't question, it just responds. The chemistry that courses through your veins is shaped by what you feel first thing in the morning. And what you feel is usually what you felt many times before. Repetition is not the problem. Unconscious repetition is, because it keeps alive a past that should have been released by now, not through denial, but through transmutation. And to transmute, one must perceive. One must look at this silent moment of awakening and recognize it as a portal, not as yet another repetition. Nothing external needs to change for the day to start differently. It is your frequency of opening your eyes that reorganizes the field around you. When this changes, everything changes, because you stop repeating and start co-creating. How your morning chemistry sabotages your frequency without you realizing it. There is something that happens inside you even before you take your first sip of water. Before the sunlight fully touches your skin, it is invisible to the eye, but it shapes everything, your chemistry. When you wake up, your body starts producing hormones, as if anticipating the day's weather, and the substance it releases depends deeply on the emotion you feel in the first moments of the morning. If the first thing that comes to mind is worry, the body interprets it as a threat, and without judgment, it begins to protect itself. It releases cortisol, adrenaline. It prepares to fight, flee, or endure. It is the body entering a state of survival, even if the day has barely begun, and this state creates a dense, reactive vibrational field where everything seems more difficult than it really is. Decisions become urgent. The heart beats faster. Thoughts become more rushed. Gregg Braden teaches us that the heart, when in coherence with the brain, emits a harmonic, ordered magnetic field, capable of influencing even the world around it. But when you wake up in a state of alarm, this coherence is broken. The mind and body disconnect. And what was supposed to be a day of creation turns into a day of restraint. This imbalance is not your fault. It is simply a reflection of an emotional routine that has been installed without your awareness. And it can be gently reprogrammed, because in the same way that the body responds to fear, it also responds to calm, to presence, to the gentle touch of a loving thought, a beautiful image, a word that is truly felt. When you take a deep breath upon waking, when you bring a warming memory to your chest, when you choose, even for a moment, lightness, something reorganizes within you. Chemistry changes, frequency rises, biology responds, and reality begins to reflect this new field. You don't need to force a state of peace. Just don't feed the state of rush, because the body listens, the heart perceives, and the vibration that you sustain in the first hours of the day will be the mirror of everything that will come later. The secret is to remember, you don't just wake up to the world, you wake up to yourself, and that changes everything. The false positivity that hides disguised spiritual anxiety. There is a type of silence that does not bring peace. A silence where the mind repeats beautiful words, but the body remains alert. Have you ever woken up trying to affirm good things to yourself? Today will be a good day. I am strong. Everything will be fine. And yet, you felt that inside, something remained restless? As if the soul did not believe what the mouth said, as if there was a mismatch between intention and vibration. This disconnection has a subtle name: anxiety disguised as positivity, an effort to be light when inside there is still shadow asking for space, an attempt to skip stages of feeling, to ignore legitimate sadness, to avoid emptiness with words that, although beautiful, were not digested with truth. And the deepest thing is that the body perceives it, the heart feels it. The brain captures this vibrational dissonance with precision. When you affirm something without real presence, you create an energetic fracture. You say, I am prosperous, but your body vibrates with scarcity. You say, I am loved, but your chest pulses with abandonment. And this imbalance is not just conceptual, it is physical, biological. Neuroscience has already proven that the brain only registers as true that which it can feel with coherence between image, emotion, and bodily sensation. Without this alignment, repetition becomes noise. But there is a way out, and it starts with emotional honesty, with the courage to recognize what's really vibrating, with respect for one's internal state before trying to change it, because it is not about forcing the positive, but about cultivating the authentic. And the authentic is what one feels completely, even if at first it is just a small thread of hope, a warming memory, a moment of real gratitude. This thread is already enough to sow a new field. Creating a coherent neural sensory image is more powerful than repeating a memorized phrase 1,000 times. Imagine, for a moment, a simple scene. You are walking in a place you love, feeling the wind touching your face. Your body is relaxed. Your heart is light. And in this scenario, a word is whispered inside you, a word that represents what you want to experience. If this image is felt with truth, your brain registers it, your body responds, your frequency rises. It is not positivity that transforms. It is coherence, the harmony between what you think, what you feel, and what you desire. And this harmony begins when you stop forcing yourself to be light and start allowing yourself to be whole, with everything that pulsates, with everything that still needs to be welcomed. Because true spirituality does not demand vibrational perfection. It only invites presence. And presence is the beginning of all transformation. Vibrational reprogramming technique. 3 steps to activate the conscious morning. There is a moment between the last dream and the first thought where the soul is most accessible. It is as if the veil between the visible and the invisible is still half open, allowing something profound and transformative to happen. In this transitional state, the body still rests in theta and alpha brainwaves, fertile ground where new connections can flourish and old patterns can gently dissolve. It is in this silent interval that vibrational reprogramming finds its purest potency. It all starts with presence. Even before getting out of bed, before touching your cell phone or thinking about commitments, there is a subtle call to return to the body. 3 conscious breaths felt as if diving into calm waters. Inhale as if receiving, exhale as if releasing, and then a gesture, a light touch on the chest, as if awakening the heart with respect. This touch is not symbolic, it is neurobiological. It activates specific receptors, communicates to the nervous system that there is safety, and initiates the alignment between mind and emotion. Next comes the image, but not just any image. It needs to be vivid, emotional, and possible to feel. Visualize an ideal moment in your day, something simple but fulfilling. It could be you smiling while talking to someone you love, walking in peace, feeling your body light, the weather favorable, your spirit calm. Don't imagine it as someone who wishes it were so. Imagine it as someone who is already living it. And while you hold this scene, allow a real emotion to accompany it. Gratitude, relief, contentment. This combination, image plus emotion, is the language that the brain understands as truth. And when it accepts it as truth, the body follows. The frequency organizes itself. The field responds. Finally, choose a word. A single word that represents the energy you want to sustain throughout the day. It could be clarity. It could be serenity. It could be abundance. Whisper that word to yourself. Repeat it with presence, not in haste. Let it descend from your mind to your heart, like a vibrational seed. That word will be your anchor, your point of return whenever turbulence wants to take over. These 3 steps are not a mystical ritual. They are an integrative practice between brain, body, and field, an emotional technology based on simplicity. And it is precisely because it is simple that it works. Because what transforms is not what is complex, it is what is repeated with presence. And when you start the day like this, present, visualizing, feeling, anchoring, you are not just waking up, you are reprogramming yourself to live in coherence with what you desire. You are writing, from the first seconds, the frequency of the best day of your life. The invisible tuner that sets your reality before coffee. There is something in you that awakens before your body even moves. It is like a silent antenna that, as soon as the day begins, also begins to capture, emit, and tune frequencies. It is not a conscious choice. It is an energetic response. This antenna has no physical form, but it vibrates all the time. It is your mind, your field, your vibrational signature. And it responds to the first internal sound that you play when you wake up. Imagine for a moment that your consciousness is like a tuning fork, an instrument used to tune strings, to generate a pure, precise note. And when you wake up, you play it, without realizing it. If the note played is that of haste, lack, or anxiety, the rest of the day resonates with that sound. Emotions, encounters, thoughts, even small details, they all vibrate in tune with that initial frequency, like an echo that repeats itself in multiple forms. But that same tuning fork can produce another note, a softer note, a fuller note, a note more aligned with who you really are. When you choose to wake up with presence, even for a few moments, something begins to change. Your internal rhythm is reorganized. Your perception of time changes. Your reactions become responses. And what seemed random begins to show itself as synchronicity. You don't control everything that happens in your day, but you do determine where you vibrate from. And that vibrational origin changes the way the world responds to you. When your field is out of alignment, everything requires effort. Things get stuck, encounters feel heavy, thoughts get agitated. But when your field is coherent, there is lightness. Doors open with less friction. The right people show up. Answers come to you without you having to ask them out loud. This invisible tuner, this vibrational consciousness that activates upon awakening, is the most underrated point of the day, because it is silent, because it is subtle, because it does not scream, but it is the hidden conductor of your reality. It is where it all begins, not on the clock, not on the calendar, but in the tone that your field chooses to emit. And when that emission comes from a real, present place, nourished by intention and felt emotion, the world has no choice but to listen and resonate. Bruce Lipton, Neville Goddard, and the golden key of the vibrational morning. Somewhere between what you feel and what you repeat, there is a possibility of rebirth. Not a symbolic, metaphorical rebirth, but a real rebirth. Cellular, vibrational, energetic. Bruce Lipton reminds us that whatever we repeat with emotion becomes biology. The words you speak with presence shape your brain circuits. The images you visualize with truth rewrite your neural connections. Emotion felt consistently becomes instruction for your cells. None of this is distant theory. It is the practice of everyday transformation. The field around your body is not just an abstract concept. It is a measurable, sensitive field, influenced by everything you feel. When you wake up and repeat, day after day, emotions that vibrate in scarcity, in haste, in doubt, your field closes. The body hardens. Life goes into survival mode. But when the repetition is done with awareness, when the intention is imbued with genuine emotion, that same field expands. The body softens. Life begins to respond from another place. Neville Goddard was even more direct. You don't manifest what you want. You manifest what you are. The key, he said, is to wake up already, being. Before the world gives you something, you already feel as if you have it. Before the external event, there is the internal feeling. Imagination, when imbued with emotion, becomes a bridge between the invisible and the visible. It is as if reality bends to the vibrational coherence of your presence. And that is why the morning has such forgotten power, because it carries within itself the potential for the unprecedented. It doesn't matter how old you are, how many stories you carry. Every morning is a new chance to write the script with a different tone, a different rhythm. Waking up is not simply opening your eyes. It is choosing which field your consciousness will inhabit for the next 24 hours. It is deciding, with tenderness and firmness, which note will be played in your vibrational field. It doesn't take big changes for life to start moving differently. It takes small fidelities, small conscious gestures upon waking, a breath, a heartfelt image, an anchoring word, a touch on the heart, a welcoming silence. And so, without rushing, without pressure, you begin to reorganize the invisible field that governs everything that is visible. You begin to align yourself not with what is missing, but with what already vibrates within you, just waiting to be chosen. The frequency of the best day of your life is not far away. It is within reach of your awakening, because everything begins right there, where consciousness touches the body, where the body listens to the soul, where the soul whispers to the universe. Today, I choose to vibrate differently, and the universe silently responds. Then, everything around you will begin to vibrate with you.